What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and you're watching the B1KER Bar Podcast. So, what was it that made you decide to start the Trail Features channel?
Man, that's going back a ways.
Yeah, huh?
So, I think the reason why was actually a few reasons. So going back to it, like when I was younger, like 14, 13, I used to really want to make movies. I thought it was really cool. Like I said, my brother-in-law, who at the time was my sister's boyfriend, his dad was a cinematographer, ran his own production house. So he was into cinematography. So, you know, I really liked watching movies when I found out about that. His dad was like, "Oh, you want to spend a day at my production house and goof around?" And I thought it was the coolest freaking thing ever, because this was back in the day when you had to have dedicated computers that were specifically built to edit video.
Yeah.
And you know, that was a super luxury. Like that was $10,000 back in 90s money. So we're talking
big
serious
money, right?
Anyway, so like eventually camera gear got affordable enough that I could you know, get lucky enough that my mom bought a Super 8 camera, digital camera, and I started playing around with that, and I would edit videos at home on the VCR, and it was just goofy stuff with my family. And then Mini DV came out, and suddenly video editing became affordable, relatively speaking. Mac. So like when I was 14, 15, I started filming my friends that were skaters, and I was the squid that was following them around, filming them, jumping fences.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, that was really where I started playing with this. And this is way before YouTube.
Yeah.
There was nowhere to upload this stuff unless you knew how to run a web server.
Right.
And it was super expensive to host anything.
Yeah.
There was no, like, you remember what it was like watching videos back in the 90s. It was like this little postage stamp made of like 90 pixels.
Right.
It always would buffer and it sounded echoey and tinny.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I worked at a production house, and I was like 18, 19. I was like 16. I was a teenager. I was a full-on teenager.
One of the teens.
Yeah, I took a crappy community college video editing class. This local production house came in headhunting for interns to use and abuse. And so I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I got a job there, and I was making $20 per video.
Oh, there
Unless someone else worked on the video, then you had to split it equally. But there was like 20 interns, and whoever could come in that day was just assigned a video to work on. And so $20 would get split 5 different ways. You couldn't even make up your gas money working that thing. And that's just how the industry is. And I just got so burnt out, because I'd be sitting there, and this guy who actually owned the production company came in and was kind of coaching someone like, "Oh, here's how you do good storytelling with editing this." And, you know, this guy had done some really cool stuff. And as soon as he left, this hotshot young producer comes in and goes, "Don't listen to him." And like every stereotype you've ever heard about the industry is absolutely true. Everyone's a prima donna. Everyone thinks they're the next Spielberg. Everyone's trying to stab each other to get in front of the line.
Yeah.
I just got burnt out on it because I just wanted to make cool stuff. So I quit that, got into tech. Fast forward, I had hurt my back when I had moved to Austin back in 2014, 2015. I was deadlifting. I fatigued out. I didn't drop the weight. I let it pull me down, and it just rolled my back. And anyone who does any serious powerlifting knows that that's just a guaranteed way to wreck yourself. So yeah, I wasn't just in pain. I was like physically disabled for like a year. It took me a year of PT because I already had a pre-existing back condition for messing up my back playing paintball. Anyways, that got me laying on the couch watching YouTube 24/7. because
Right.
like if I wasn't working, I was laying down. That was the two major aspects of my life: trying to get through the workday without crying as a grown man, and then going home and laying down. And so I used to mountain bike when I was a teenager, but I stopped when I was like 16 because I discovered video games and, well, video games.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching these videos, and YouTube, the weird algorithm that it is, noticed that like I kind of clicked on a couple mountain bike videos, and then all of a sudden these Seths and Brian's and all these
Yeah.
crazy mountain bikers start showing up, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty fun. And after about a year, I got stir crazy because I was like, I need to get out of the house, but it needs to be low impact. And I used to run for cardio, but then I was like, oh, well, I can get a bike and just start biking around. And I wasn't a road cyclist, and I didn't want something that was super aggressive, so I just got like it was a late year model Kona Lanai, and it was on sale. I grabbed it and I started
like
riding.
a hardtail, like
yeah, it's like a basic like 520 new. Last year's model usually goes for like 380, 420.
also like under $500 hardtail.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
I get it, and I just start pedaling around, and I'm like, well, this is pretty fun. And after a while, I started commuting to work on the bike. And because I was terrified of getting hit by a car and then them trying to claim that I was the problem, I started wearing Sony
That
action
so
camera.
sounds like a Joe thing to think of too. Just because I know you, I've known you for a while. That's totally like, I'm worried they're going to hit me, and then there's going to be this lawsuit.
I think it's stupid that people don't like road cyclists because they're a mountain biker.
Yeah.
But I don't argue with anyone that being a road cyclist is trying to commit suicide and failing at it every time you get on the bike. But anyways, that's another topic.
Right.
So the point is I started riding and I started filming this stuff, and eventually I decided to make a video because I was like, I used to like video editing.
Yeah.
And I made a video and I just posted it to my local Facebook, my personal one, and people thumbed it up. I was just like, that was cool. But then I decided to build up a salsa via because I wanted to get a more efficient commuter while still kind of having it capable. And the salsa via is basically like a gravel bike.
Oh, okay.
It's meant to go off road, but it's still, more efficient than a mountain bike.
Yeah.
And then I had my actual mountain bike. So I decided it would be really fun to film the assembly of that.
Okay.
Because it was like, oh yeah, I'm really liking this bike stuff. People seem to like these bike videos. It'd be really cool to put a YouTube video up. So I made it, and that was my very first YouTube video, and a few people liked it. And then eventually I got a Yeti, and I was like, well, I'll make a review as a average Joe, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Bought this fancy bike.
Right.
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
And that video got a decent amount of views,
Sure,
and
it blew up. Any like review type video, especially on a bike that's hot.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you're gonna
reviews
get the views. Yeah. If you like that, make sure you check out the full episode. And hey, do me a favor, before you take off, hit the like and subscribe.